Just checking if my mic works. All right. Hello, everyone. This is Skye's SMP. I've been playing on it quite a lot. Those days, that's the entire server been running, but I've been here a while. So I'm going to show you all the stuff I've done. So this has been rebuilt 3 times, but this is an iron farm. So the collection at the top. I've only got a 2x2 entrance, and so I had to put lava there because sometimes the iron golems get stuck on their way in, and that gets triggered. That's because there's a trading farm underneath. This is the 3rd configuration I've done. I like this with using the trapdoors to keep all of the villagers in their spot, right next to their crafting tables and working whatever they're called, workplaces. So these have got pretty good trades. So we can, with some melons and pumpkins, you can get quite a lot of emeralds quick, and iron you can get even more emeralds, and then you can, buy bottles of enchanting and any of the books you might need from any of these villages, which is really cool. So that serves its purpose, but at the same time, the iron golems are spawning above and being captured. Okay. This was my first tree, my first tree house. It's kind of boring now compared to other things I've done, but I'll often race in here. It's just far enough off the ground that if there were mobs walking around, you can still sleep there. I reckon that's a good idea. I've got underneath the ground, I've got large sections of mob spawning areas that all get washed into this bubble column. This is tinted glass, and so it's dark underneath it, but the mobs come up here and get washed off the edge, fall down, and if the magma doesn't kill them, there's a string with observers watching it that triggers pistons with the trident that you can see down the bottom there. So yeah, this is the the planning didn't happen very well, but this is a massive sorter, an item sorter. So the water is traveling along the top behind these upside down stairs. There's an item sorter module behind each one. This is the configuration I like. I think it doesn't have the problems where you have the server's going to restart in 5 seconds. Of course it will. You don't have a delay missing some items because there's a repeater that takes too long, so using the target blocks. But each of these is set up with some fillers and the item that they're sorting. You can see down the back here, see the items coming from various places all over the place. I'll show you the farms probably after the after the reboot. All right. Items get sorted, so all of the essentials, iron being from the iron farm, often, to make sure all the farms are working, I often come and stand here. This is where the main chute, just a water stream. I had it as a bubble elevator, but I found it, sometimes things got stuck when it was a bubble elevator. But if it's just water, stuff will float up. Yeah, I'm hoping it's not the items aren't lagging out users too much. But I've got lots of other farms that kind of get in the way. You can see all the kinds of farms I've got, you know, bamboo, creating bamboo blocks and seeds and wheat from a wheat farm. There's some iron from the iron farm, pumpkins, melons. So all of that then comes along that water stream, fills up all these chests. So, you know, you want pumpkins, you've got pumpkins. You want kelp, you've got kelp. Yeah, even latest addition is a wool farm. So I've just got a solitary sheep over here. The observer watching the grass block that it's standing on, and it triggers some shears. Oh no, I think I'll have to put more shears in there. But plenty of wool at the moment, so well, there was plenty of wool. Alright, I'll fix that in a minute. Alright, so I did have at the end here Alay's trying to sort out the gold swords, but I found it really unreliable. I've still got the note block there. I got the Alays to put it onto the note block, and then I had a piston. When the note block rang, the piston would push everything across into a hopper. And so this hopper goes down into a furnace section to smelt the gold swords, and everything else from the other farms, the overflow ends up in these chests, and I can go and pick out what I need, and I clean them up regularly, getting rid of the stuff that we've got plenty of that we don't need. So the iron farms above here. In here's the killing chamber, just some lava, and in here the iron golem taking part in that, and the materials flow out. The cats that get spawned in the farm too, I put a boat here to catch, and I lead them over to another farm where anyone else on the server can go and tame their own cats. Right. So I started with, I thought I might be able to get slime from a snotted panda, but you can't. So I've left the pandas here just as a exhibit. I've got a stone and cobblestone farm here with some beacons running to make it faster. Just a passive cactus farm. This is pretty fun. You put bone blocks in here. This crafter turns the bone blocks into bone meal, putting them into this chest. And if this chest has got bone meal in it, it grows the sugar cane, which is really cool. Alright, the server's doing a backup and a save, which is really good. So that if something went wrong, we'd be able to get back on, but it doesn't take very long to do that. Shut down, save, and then boot back up. Hopefully I can reconnect straight away. Or lie to me and take longer. I'll just show that off. I'll put some bones into that chest. So I've got bones coming from a mob farm. They come into here. And then I just put the bones in here. So this, the hopper automatically fills up the crafting table. This measures the crafting table, and when it's got bone meal in it, it creates this repeating loop that triggers that block, which triggers the crafter, and the crafter's facing into the into this chest. Bone meal goes in here again. It gets if there's any contents in that chest, it turns off this, which then allows another clock that's around the back. Just allows this simple clock, which has got a is where the bone meal ends up, and it triggers the pistons and the bone meal at the right times. Get lots and lots. So the water flows out, joins with the cactuses, goes down. Down here, and then goes up to that bubble stream. That one I left as a bubble column because it wasn't getting jammed. Then that bubble stream ends up at the other one that I showed you before. So here's one of the first farms I made. This is a pumpkin farm. My interspace, I've got the Bedrock Tweaks texture pack that shows pumpkin and melons as different coloured stems. Standard server watching those things, and you can put you put redstone on top of your observers, and then you can just put blocks next to them, and you don't need much redstone. So once I've got my villager farm working, I can buy redstone from clerics. So as long as I've got one brewing stand, once I've got one brewing stand, then I can buy redstone pretty easy. So the iron farm gives me redstone to make the pumpkin and melon farm. So there's a rail picking it up, and I got a collection system here, and there's a sorter on the top. I've covered all of this up because I kept on having water come down the stairs and wash away the redstone, so I can't, it's harder to show now, but there's a craft in there that's doing the converting the melon slices back into melons, and there's a filter up there that only lets the melon slices down, and then they end up in that water stream and up the bubble column. I've got just a simple lava farm, and beside it I move the lava across and use water to turn it all into obsidian. Pretty cool. I've got a gold farm right in the back here. This is switched off at the moment, but there's kind of seeing the lava and the piglins, or the zombie piglins, all get washed down there. But I might turn that on later. Alright, so next farm. Don't know how to get to it. So this is a kelp farm. So using water stream, so the kelps just grow up and get washed into that water stream. at got a leather, and I feed these cows, and they eventually drop their leather and steak into the hoppers. The hoppers get shipped out. There's also the bottom of the mob farm I showed with the tinted glass above it. It's just behind this wall here. So anytime items via minecart hoppers funnel all of the drops into this dropper. This dropper gets checked for any items and gets triggered by a target block so that it sends them out. Right, so underneath the villager trading hall, trying to keep all of the villages and stuff in the same location. I've got a it's a bit of a maze. So got a collection system. This is underneath the village farm. I've got one villager in here, and that was an interesting mission. So I grew this villager up with only having access to seeds. So its inventory is full of seeds. It goes along, breaks the wheat, and it picks up any seeds that are left behind. Doesn't pick up the wheat, and can replants them. So it's got an endless supply of wheat, an endless supply of seeds, refilling it so that it'll never pick up the wheat. It's what's it called? The composter. Its composter is all the way in here. It can't get to it. I left a composter out where it could get to it, and I think it composted most of its seeds and started picking up wheat. So I've had to get another one down here, which was a challenge because I've built on top of it and everywhere, so not many options for paths. So the wheat and seeds get collected here, sent through this hopper chain, and then another dropper pushing them into this water stream. I go down here, I got a bamboo farm. This is using that quasi redstone. So when an item grows next to these torches, there's redstone above powering that block. So if the torch goes on, it powers itself, which turns itself off, and vice versa. And it burns out. But whenever it gets updated every time anything grows next to it. So as these bamboos grow up, they trigger it. And there's a minecart underneath that travels underneath these dirt trails, and then this complex contraption takes over. So bamboo gets emptied out here, and it priority goes and drops down into that crafter. That crafter's turning the 9 bamboo stems into a bamboo block, and the overflow goes across and into this dropper. So every time that dropper gets an item in it, this detects that, sends a signal out, which then that block, there's a repeater hidden underneath there, but that block gets triggered, which sends a signal back through, and it pulses both the dropper to send down its bamboo, but also the bamboo block of the crafter at the same time. So So it gets kept full. When there's overflow, it then triggers it to craft. I think if I was doing it again, I'd have more hoppers leading into the crafter. So, because the crafter takes much longer to fill up. But this is compact-ish working. So that crafter goes into another hopper. So let me go here. So crafter goes into another hopper. Crafter goes into that hopper, into this crafter, and this crafter crafts bamboo planks. So it waits until that's full, and this hopper no longer picks it up. One will wash past and be picked up by this hopper, which has a dropper attached. Once that dropper has something in it, this signal will trigger, and that crafter will then craft the plank. So you get a bamboo block, 2 planks, and a bamboo shoot kind of every time it triggers. So let's see. Oh, that's interesting. One dropped all the way down there. I might have to. I think sometimes stuff just spawns because it goes too far away, so I might have to fix that. But at the moment, I've got lots of bamboo, so it works enough of the time to do that. All right. Now where? I've got, yeah. I think if I was doing it again, I'd plan even better and lay out the stuff in a better configuration. But this was the first mob farm I built. I built it before I built the underground one. I've just recently changed it to have this string observer mechanism. But it can't cope with the flood of piglins, zombie pigmen coming through. So the back here, I've got a switch that will trigger this into always on mode. Staying back just in case that creeper. Excuse me. But in this always on mode, it acts just like a trident killer. So I can turn on the zombie pigman farm. That's what this lever all the way over here is. I've got a little view glass so you can see the zombie pigmen come up. There's a queue of them, so it takes a second for the first one to show. Okay. So a whole stream of zombie pigmen will come out. They'll go. They follow a water stream. I didn't want to go. I didn't want to go anywhere else, so they go all the way around this farm and feed in at the back of this trident killer now, and they come out that water stream. But I'll turn that off. Alright, so that's lots of the farms. Let's see, is there anything that I've missed? So we get gold nuggets from the piglins and gold bars. I'll show you how I make I've got some auto crafters behind here as well, which is pretty cool. So if we ever get an excess of iron, there's iron bars. There's a filter that takes those iron bars down into this crafter. This crafter sits there ready so that when it overfills and the hopper above gets anything in it, this detects it. The signal gets stronger and stronger until it turns off this torch, allowing this hopper clock. This is kind of really cool. Just one item, just ticks back and forth, and so you get iron popping out quite regularly. This is identical, except it takes sugarcane to make paper. So I could probably demonstrate. I've got 25 sugarcane in my. If I put this sugarcane in here, it first fills up this, and then a backlog falls into the hopper there. That block transfers the information through with the comparator. Maybe I didn't have enough. So the other side of that, there's a water stream. So that autocrafter sends the item into the water stream. Through that water stream back to the other water streams. But this one's a really interesting one. So I wanted to autocraft kelp, and I wanted the kelp turned into kelp blocks. So there is a hopper that takes the cooked kelp out of this furnace and puts it into an autocrafter here. Once this autocrafter fills up, there's a mechanism here for detecting that it's full, compared to another crafter. So as soon as there's more kelp in there than there are blocked off blocks in that crafter, then it sends a signal back which triggers that crafter to craft. But I didn't want to waste. If only one kelp came through, then the furnace would put a kelp block in here and waste potentially 20 other, 19 other potential cooked kelp. And so at that stage, I didn't know that I'd have, a pretty decent flow of kelp coming in. But I've got, so I look at if ever that's empty, that'll turn off that comparator. Turning off that comparator turns these repeaters off, which turns these blocks off, which turns these torches on, and that will stop this counter. So there's quite a lot of items in here, and the number of items is to account for the time it takes to cook 20 items. I've actually got an excess of kelp blocks because it's been running for so long that it's I need to put more items in here, but I've got now such as a store of it. I haven't bothered fine-tuning it anymore. But okay, so this hopper clock, once all of the items have moved across, the redstone block moves, locks the other one, and then they all go back again. And every time that happens, we get a signal out here, which turns this torch off just for the time that there's nothing in that chest, in that hopper, which allows one kelp block to go through. I've got fillers in there so that I don't waste them. But when that fills up to the top, there's the chests on the other side now that then have kelp blocks for people to use and take. All right, so this is the bottom of the gold farm. So those swords would end up coming down here, and they using double chests. So there's a double chest above these two hoppers, and so if I get lots of them, it splits them left and right. So I split from one chest into two hoppers, into two chests, into four hoppers, into four furnaces. So these furnaces all are being fed by my bamboo planks, which are pretty cheap. So I have filled this up once. I don't get much gold come through, so I haven't used it all. Anyway, those gold nuggets all go into this crafter, and when that crafter overflows, that hopper next to it will overflow, which will send a signal through here, which will start crafting gold bars from the gold nuggets. That water stream, you guessed it, ends up into the sorter. And sit here and I can watch all the stuff go past. I don't like AFKing, so I won't hang out here, but because I've set this up so that other people on the SMP can come and get resources so that they can skip over the early game stuff, so that they can go straight to iron tools and even diamond tools by just trading with the villagers in the villager hall. But whenever they're within proximity, all of these farms kick in and start creating all the materials that you see here. It's pretty cool. People are getting ready to build things, so they've got their shulker boxes already. Got my latest creation to show you, and then I think I'm going to call it quits. I can just see some comments. Sorry, I'm not very good at reading comments yet. A lot of green, cool redstone. Thanks. Why do you want kelp? Kelp for kelp blocks, because I like burning kelp blocks. And yes, there are lots of hoppers, and I think like I deliberately didn't do a hopper chain for the filter. I did a water stream instead to try and reduce the hoppers. It does cause lag, especially for people on, this is Minecraft Bedrock, so a lot of the devices on connect on phones and things like that. I built this dam. This used to be a river here, and I used sponges, and I created this dam wall, and I've got this aqueduct running over the top of it. Kind of pretty cool. I think I've showcased my my lighthouse in another video, so you can have a look for that if you're interested. This is my latest creation, this massive tree. Special thanks to Arrow, one of the other people on this SMP. He helped me with the decoration on the branches. It really makes it look really cool. These hanging cherry vines. So I've got 3 arms coming off, and what I call the penthouse up the top. I've created an interesting water elevator I've not seen done by others. A little instructional, but basically you go into this water stream, and if you go in the direction of those arrows, you can end up in each of those arms. So if I go to the first floor, and I've missed it already, and I've ended up in the penthouse. Okay, so maybe it takes a little bit of work to get right. So this is the first floor, and the inside the arms, you can go all the way out to the end. I'm not sure yet what I'm going to do in each of these. At the moment, they're just amazing viewing platforms for some of the other creations that people have done on the server, which is really fun. The best way down is to fly. So that's the first floor. Second floor straight ahead. And again, the arms are all slightly different. Some going up, some going across. You can see I was over there before. Now I'm over here. And look out in the other direction. Yeah, so I'll go to the third floor, but I've put in some. If I didn't, so if I go out through there, that'll take me to the other arm. But I've put carpet with powdered snow underneath it, so that if you were inside the tree, you can get down without taking damage. I've also got a beacon in over this area doing regen just in case you fall, things like that. I'll show you this farm I helped make too. This is a fish farm, so you have to be further away than right next to it. So I was hoping that if people are over there at the farm, at the trading hall and all of those places, they would get they would be close enough to have fish spawn here. The magma would then, yeah, there we go. There's some fish. The magma would then collect them, and there's a rail running underneath it to collect the fish. All right, so the village trading hall produces cats, and we like cats here. So what we've done is these are all untamed cats that I've collected. Oh, there's one tamed one, but I've collected them. I've tied them up. I've provided people with fish so that they can tame their own, pick the variety that they want, tame their own cat, as well as this is meant to be a cat cafe, so there's also plenty of food. Probably one more creation is at spawn, which is nearby here. We've put the discs on repeat under the ground here, so if when you come to spawn, you'll hear one of the different CDs playing, which is pretty cool. There's just oh yeah, I created a really tall jungle tree. My early farm to get my trades up quick with my villagers. Lots of access to honey. So there's putting a torch on top here stops the smoke, but you can hear the fires trickling away underneath. And yeah, collect your honey to make your honey blocks. There's meant to be slime chunks underneath here too, but I've built tunnels to try and detect them, but I'm probably going to have to use a chunk finder to properly find a slime chunk and make use of it. Here we go. The tree. How long did the tree house take? It took a while. I did probably a couple of hours every couple of days over 2 weeks. The server was down for a little while. That was hard. The who's that? Is that a question on who was the person who helped me? And it was Arrow that helped me with the putting those the falling cherry leaves. Yeah. Well, that's my tour. It's actually kind of good to sit up at the top of some of these places and look out. I guess that's partly why I made the cherry tree. I just thought a massive version of the cherry tree would look really good. I think I'm going to have to get rid of the above ground mob farm, replace it. Just only deal with the smaller number of mob drops from the underground one instead. We had competition early on for access to the iron and to other things, and so I created a second one here. This is probably this was an earlier design, hoppers at the top to collect rather than having a drop chute. I think that I wanted the drop chute so I could take the sound of the sunbathing iron golems away. I use these sort of water entrances. I find keep the mobs out 100%. Sometimes they can get past. I don't know. We play on hard levels, so you can get past doors and things like that. So there's access to more iron. Someone's been collecting it, which is good. And another set of villages, different trades, different configuration. I've even got inside here is the zombie for converting the villagers you do the curing process to get the prices cheaper. I think I have a Fletcher somewhere so that I can get. Oh, so I think I've lost the Fletcher, but I get weakness arrows so that you don't need to farm nether water or anything early on. It's pretty cool. There are other things that I've done too on this server. I create a raid farm, which still, like, it doesn't repeat itself, but it does. You can still get potions of raid triggering potions, or what you can use when you go to those new copper places. Got my beacons here. My neighbours have got beacons as well, so we get a good spread across the area. Yeah. All right, well, that's what. Why did you build so many farms? Well, I hate I hate mining for stuff, so I won't go mining for diamonds to make diamond armor. I'll set up a trading hall and get my diamond armor that way, and once I've got them done right. Apparently you can't do multiple curing processes anymore. So I think these might still be multiples, have been turned into zombies and cured multiple times to get their prices so low. But I'm not short for emeralds at all, and so that's not a real problem. It's interesting. You can see the items flowing past from within here because I built it all really close together. I try to keep all of those hopper collection systems. They're all in one place. They're all in one chunk, so that I don't have mine carts. I don't have mine carts that are going outside of chunks. So that helps a lot. But I had a glitch the other day where the mine carts were getting stuck on invisible blocks, and it happened to one to start off with, but then I found all of them were all blocked up. So you can get XP from, because the trident killer there. You can get XP. So set up a little station here. So good for mending your elytra and your tools. You can stand here. You could AFK here, and then the farm's producing iron and gunpowder and everything you might need. Yeah. I don't know. There's a question on how minecarts got stuck. I think it was just a glitch because there was one block where even if I removed the block, removed the rail, removed the block underneath, replaced them all, the minecart would just refuse to go through this one space. But it was because we back up every day. I think after one of the backups, everything started working again. So I've in fact, one of the blockages happened in my melon and pumpkin farm, and so it happened right at the end. And so I've moved this like 3 blocks this way. So I'm never going to be collecting anything that's above here. Maybe it'll be picked up by the hopper when it goes past. But all of this is still within the chunk. All the minecarts, yeah. Keep your minecarts in the one chunk. What other farms? I think. Will I make any other farms? No. Don't know what to make next. I'm enjoying watching other people build stuff. I've got maps of the landscape. I only just updated my map to show giant cherry tree. Is there. Spawns over here. And yeah. See my dam and my overpass, my lighthouse. Cool. Alright, well, my voice is starting to give up. That's the tour. Gonna sign off now, and maybe I'll stream doing my next build, whatever that is, or maybe people can post comments about what I should do next. Alright. Thanks everyone.